Welcome to Ryan Michael Yoga. Good morning for those people watching this in the morning. Good evening for people watching this in the evening. And good night if it's the night that you're probably be going to sleep. Maybe watch one of my other videos that's more focused on soothing the nervous system. Today we're going to be opening our hips and our hamstrings. I do lots of walking, so that's kind of what's needed for me. And since I am here to share my own practice and teach you through my own practice, that's what you're going to get. So before I begin, because I tend to forget at the end of the class because I'm all yogaed out, you know, the yoga high and everything, you know. Please subscribe. Please like this video, well, once you get to the end. And also, stick around. If you're looking at a yoga class, if you're watching a yoga class on YouTube, why would you leave halfway through, you know? Maybe I'm not looking at my analytics and just assuming that you're not. Anyway, so today we're going to use a block, probably a strap. It's always nice to have a strap just in case because, well, we're going to do hamstring stuff. So yes, strap. And then I like to have a couple blankets. I usually just use one myself, but yeah, so it's nice to have a couple blankets. You never know when you might need them, especially in my classes. So we are going to get started. Actually, we're going to get started in a place that I really love because it brings connectivity back to the belly and the core. And that's really one of the most important things about all my classes. So grabbing one of your blankets, rolling it up, and like I said, we're working more in the hips today. So we're going to do this thing we've done before where we lay on the blanket and it's going to be in the belly, but instead of having it right in where the abdomen is, it's going to be a little lower, so it's more in the hips. And this way we'll be getting that massaging action as we breathe in the pelvic floor, not in the pelvic floor, but in the pelvic bowl more. And this is an area that holds a lot of things. I find as an American, there's a lot of sexual repression, and as a Utahn, I'm from Utah, there's even more. So sexually speaking, this is an area that is really nice to massage because you really open up and release a lot of stored energy. As well, this is an area that personally I'm not as connected with. You know, this is like where I need to connect the most when I'm working in these yoga classes, so that's why we focus on this a lot. But this is also where the unconscious mind is a lot of the time. You can imagine the body as a representation of the mind, and so the lower we go down in the energy centers, the more we get into the unconscious mind. So we're going to be working with that today, with Manipura, the solar plexus, with Svadhisthana, the sacrum, the sacral chakra, and then Manipura, which is way down the perineum, aka also known as the taint. That's a much less beautiful way to say it. I prefer perineum. Or Muladhara, that's even better. So anyway, let's get onto this blanket rolled up and placing it on right at the hips, maybe a little bit above, so it's right at the top of it's actually at the top of the sides of the pelvis. This bone that sticks out on the side here. And then you can stack your palms and rest the forehead on the hands. And we'll just relax here for a little bit to get grounded this morning. And as you breathe, just notice where your breath wants to go. Does it naturally move towards the blanket? Notice how having the blanket there allows the low back to expand a little more. And really notice how it feels at that exact point of contact between blanket and body. Now, the beautiful thing about this practice is you don't actually need the breath to bring your awareness there. The breath is a tool and it can help us bring our awareness to different places. But the mind is actually more subtle. So if you can direct the mind consciously to a specific area, that is where the consciousness will go. And to create connectivity, to create awareness in a certain area, to wake up certain areas of the body, that's what we need to do. We need to direct our consciousness, our energy, our mind to these different places. So that's why the breath is so powerful, because it helps us do that. As well, physically, the breath opens up these areas. Let's take one more deep breath down into the blanket, down into the pelvic bowl. And then when you're ready, an inhale will bring you to hands and knees. And then you can move that blanket. So we have a little bit more connectivity now. Just a little bit more. All right, moving into cat and cow. So with an inhale, we'll drop the belly, pull the shoulders back, press the collarbones forward, lift the gaze. Exhale to contract the navel up towards the spine, broadening the shoulders, tucking the chin. Inhale to drop the belly, collarbones forward, gaze lifts. Exhale, tucking the chin, navel squeezes up and back. Inhale, and just move with your own breath now. But on your exhales, the navel does the movement, does the action as the spine arches. Let's add the pelvic floor lift. So as you begin the exhale, pelvic floor lifts, navel contracts, spine rounds, shoulder blades broad. So it's like a wave, starting with the pelvic floor lifting, then the navel contraction. This is the exhale. And if you're unsure what I mean by pelvic floor lift, it's like doing a soft Kegel. The more we practice with this, we'll do one more. take a pause. You can sit on your ankles while I just talk for a moment. The more we practice with these actions, the navel pulling back and lifting up, sort of akin to Uddiyana Bandha, and Muladhara, which would be the pelvic floor lifting, Mula Bandha, sorry, the pelvic floor lifting. The more we do these, more practice, the subtler they'll become, but also the more you'll understand them. And so that pelvic floor lift that I'm talking about, it's not quite the same as a Kegel, because a Kegel you're activating basically the whole pelvic floor because you're trying to strengthen. Where Mula Bandha, this pelvic floor lift that we're doing, is actually just the perineum, so just the space between the genitals and the anus. It's a cross of muscles, and it acts as like a trampoline as you breathe. So that's one diaphragm that moves parallel to the diaphragm of the lungs. So we have this diaphragm and this diaphragm, and as we breathe in, it moves down very subtly, and as we breathe out, they move up. Yeah, and so that's why when we do these with the exhale, we can add in that little, just a tiny bit more of a contraction, just so subtle, because we don't want to bring the sphincter muscles into it, and we don't want to bring the genital muscles into it, the urethral muscles. I don't know if that's right. I should probably take an anatomy class or another one. We just want the action to be in the perineum, and one more thing, and we'll get back to the practice. So a good way to really learn that is you can take like a small ball, or a smooth stone, or just something that is about quarter size and big enough so that it puts pressure on your perineum, and you sit on it, and as you breathe, you just notice, if you notice that subtle movement of the perineum, of the pelvic floor, going down with your inhale and up with the exhale. And that just kind of tunes you into the movement of the muscles. So anyway, let's get back to it. So let's come back to our hands and knees. And now we're doing the same thing as cat and cow, but we'll lift a leg. So let's first take the left knee in a little bit. Right leg is going to lift, starting with it straight back. And then with an inhale, bend the knee, drop the belly, pulling the heel towards the back of the head. And then exhale, straighten the knee, round the spine, knee to nose. Inhale. Reach that leg out and bend the knee, heel towards the back of the head, and exhale, knee to nose. 3 more like that. This is tiger stretch pose. This is good for sciatica. I wouldn't use it to release sciatica, because once you have it, you need a little bit more passive stuff. The active stuff can actually activate it. And coming down, moving to the other side. Right knee a little close to center. Inhale, left leg back and lifting. Bending the knee, heel towards the back of the head. Exhale, round the spine, knee to nose. 4 more. Collarbones forward on the inhale. 1 more time. Great. And now let's come down into child's pose for just a moment. Child's pose is a great place to assess how the body is feeling. Noticing especially the backs of the hips, and the fronts of the hips, the sides, just the hips in general. But specifically these areas, one after another, just so that we can focus our mind and our consciousness. Where you put your awareness in a pose will change the pose. The backs of the knees, the calves, the backs of the thighs, okay, with an inhale coming to hands and knees, exhale, curl the toes, downward facing dog. Feet about hip width distance, hands about shoulder width distance. With an inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale to down dog. Navel contracts. Inhale to plank. Exhale to down dog. And let's just go back and forth like this a few times. Just warming up the hamstrings. Warming up the shoulders. Navel contracts as you go back. Chin tucks as you go back. Let's add a leg. So as you inhale forward, lift the right leg, hovering in plank, and then exhale to press that heel up and back, lifting the leg into one-legged dog. Inhale back forward to plank. Exhale back to one-legged dog. Inhale. And exhale. And we'll do that 2 more times. Navel contracts as you go back. Remember the front of the pelvic bowl. Last time. Coming back to plank, dropping the foot, lifting the other, and exhale back to one-legged dog. Other side. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Navel pulling back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Navel action. Squeezing towards the spine. Let's do one more. Exhale to the belly. Great. Interlacing the fingers behind the back. Zip the legs up so they become one long leg. And then with an inhale, pull the shoulders back. And another inhale to lift the chest. Palms together, taking the arms off the body, breathing here. Every inhale, the collarbones press forward and a little higher. Every exhale, the navel contracts. Now let's add that pelvic floor lift for 3 more breaths. Inhale, collarbones forward, lift. Exhale, navel contracts, pelvic floor, soft lift. 2 more breaths. And releasing back to the mat. Turning the head to the right, letting the legs relax. Okay. Yeah. So let's bend the right knee, reach back with the right hand and grab the foot. Now you can use your block for this if you want, out in front of you, hand on the block, the left hand on the block. And then with an inhale, we'll kick the right foot to lift the knee off the mat. Pull the chest up and back, and then hover the left leg. And then you can hover the left hand, reaching it forward. Inhale to kick and lift a little higher. Exhale, left shoulder back. Breathe. Focus the eyes on a point for 2 more breaths. Make sure the knees not splaying out and open, knees towards one another. 1 more breath. Arms to the sides, head to the left. Relax. And moving to the other side. Right hand on the block. Left hand reaches to the ankle. With an inhale, lift the chest, kick the foot. Hover the right leg. Lift the right arm. With an inhale, kick and lift a little higher. Exhale, right shoulder pulls back. Breathe here. 3 breaths. Knees towards one another. Focus the eyes. Breath in the belly. 2 more breaths. And release. This time we'll stack the palms, place the forehead on the hands. Notice the front of the hips, the front center of the hips, at the center of the pelvic bowl. The space between the genitals and the navel. Just notice this space. And as you breathe, see if you can't direct a little bit more of your breath down towards this area. All right, taking the hands back to the mat. With an inhale, come all the way up to plank with a push-up, and then exhale to down dog. We'll take a few breaths here just to neutralize the spine. This is a nice neutral pose with a flat back. Front ribs move towards back ribs. Sit bones spread and reach towards the sky. When you reach your sit bones subtly upward, away from the heels of the feet, that lengthens the backs of the legs, so you should feel a little bit more into the hamstrings when you do that.
But also when you do that, the belly tends to drop, so we want to lift that belly towards the back so we keep the connection in the core. So let's actually do that dynamically with the breath. So subtle dynamic movement here. Inhale to lift the sit bones towards the sky, lengthening the backs of the legs. And then exhale, navel pulls in towards spine. Inhale to reach the sit bones up towards the sky, away from the heels. And exhale, navel contracts, reintegrating, reconnecting. One more time. And now when you're ready, and inhale to either walk or hop to the front of the mat. I will hop. Well, that's not quite the front of the mat, but whatever. I have a long mat. Hands to the backs to ankles with an inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. One more time. Now inhale, sitting the hips back, sweeping the arms up into chair. Your feet can be together or slightly apart for this. Together will be a little easier because you can really squeeze your legs together. But let's make this dynamic. On the inhale, expansion in the front body, belly soft and full. Exhale, navel contracts, settle back into the chair. Inhale to come out a little bit, expanding the front body. Exhale to settle back. One more. And exhale, hands to heart center. Now let's make this a twist. If your feet are apart, bring them together. With an inhale, grow long in the spine, reaching out the crown of the head, shoulders down the back. Exhale, twisting to the right, left elbow coming to the outside of the right knee, hands staying at the heart center. Notice if the left knee wants to pop forward. Keep the fronts of the knees aligned. Breathing here. Belly full on the inhale. Navel contracts on the exhale, pulling the right shoulder back. Now we're going to stay in here and move to a lunge twist, twisted lunge. So, getting ready to balance on the right foot for just a second or two. And then when you're ready, with an inhale, step the left foot back. And then exhale, settling into the pose. The outside of the back foot is planted and pressing down into the mat. The right hip moves back. Knee and elbow pressing towards one another. Remember to really anchor that back foot into the mat. But notice if the right hip wants to move out, keep that right hip back. 2 more breaths. Belly full, navel contracting on the exhale. And release the hands to the mat. And then release the back. No, we're not quite going to go there yet. We'll do some Parsvottanasana to lunge movement. So we can have our block if you want for this. You can do either hands grasping it at the highest, or the middle, or the lowest, or you can just use the mat if you have the range of movement, but it's nice to have this block. I'm going to do middle. So, with an inhale, bend the front knee, press the heart forward through the arms, collarbones trying to lift towards the wall. And exhale, navel contracts, pelvic floor lifts, straighten the knee, fold over the leg. Inhale, breathing the belly soft into the inner thigh. Exhale, navel contracts, chin tucks towards chest. Inhale, pressing down through the back foot. Collarbones forward. Exhale, folding. 2 more breaths. Great. And now you can take your fingertips to the mat, or for a little extra challenge, hands to the hips. Now we're really relying on the strength of our foundation here. So spread the toes, press down into the feet, inner thighs towards one another, breathing into the belly. Shoulders back. Chin tucked, reaching out the top of the head. So you have a nice long spine, micro bend in the front knee. If you're hyperextending, you will potentially hurt yourself. So micro bend that front knee. We want to be careful here. Or should I say, Michael bend. Every time I say micro bend, I think Michael bend. 1 more breath. And taking the hands back to the mat, bending the front knee. Now, we can use our block for this. I have a small block. A little bigger block is better for this for most people, but turning the back toes out so the heels are in line here. And then straightening the front knee with an inhale, sweep that left arm forward. And then exhale to reach it up towards the sky. Now we're in triangle pose. And if this is too much, if you are struggling to keep your hand down, just bring your hand up to your shin. Notice my hips here, how they can be like this, or the right hip moving back, the left hip rolling down. That just creates more space in the right side of the body, and we do not want any crunching in the right waist. Again, be careful not to hyperextend the right knee here. Breathing. Feel the feet on the mat. Notice the action of the navel on the exhale, pulling back towards the spine. Breathing for 3 more breaths. And with your next inhale, reaching the left arm forward. Exhale to bring it down to the mat, bend the front knee, and drop the back knee. Okay, getting more into the hips now. I mean, we've been in the hips and the legs, but so if your hips sink and your knee bends really far forward, just inch your toes, your front toes more forward. But stay lifted here. We'll actually come up, hands to the knee first. Okay. Now with the hips sinking down, back knee towards front heel, and lift and pull back the top of the left thigh so that the sacrum is stable. And then breathe here. Shoulders down the back, collarbones lifted. And as you breathe, belly, pelvic floor soft. And as you exhale, navel pulls back, pelvic floor, soft lift, lifting the collarbones. Inhale, soft belly, collarbones lift. Exhale, tuck the chin, bringing the mind to the heart. Soft belly, soft pelvic floor on the inhale. And exhale, pelvic floor lifts, navel contracts, mind to heart. Let's do this one more breath. Using the physical body, the breath body, and the mental body to direct prana into the heart. Taking the hands down, we'll do some dynamic movement down now. With an inhale, sinking the hips, reaching the belly forward, reaching the collarbones forward, shoulders back. Exhale, straighten the front knee, flex the foot, fold over the leg. Inhale forward, belly soft. Exhale back, flexing the foot, folding over the leg. Continue with your breath. Inhales, reaching the front of the body forward, shoulders back. Exhales to fold. One more time. And this time, coming all the way back to a seat. Now sitting like this might actually be a little too intense, so this is why we have these blankets. You can take your blankets and put them under the sit bones so you have a little lift. I'm actually going to do this. It's kind of nice this time. Or you can fold them a little extra and yeah. So we're doing all this stuff on this one side, so fingers crossed that I remember what to do on the other side. All right, taking the fingertips to the mat, pressing down to reach the collarbones up, reach the top of the head up, shoulders down, internal body lifting. Inhale to sweep the arms up, and exhale to fold towards the foot. And this is a good time to use your strap if you need to. I'm not going to grab mine right now. Knees towards one another. And as you breathe, breathing belly full on the inhale. Navel contracts on the exhale. Mind is quiet on the exhale. Disengage from the activity in the mind. And when you're ready, an inhale brings you back up. Great, great, great. All right, let's make our way to our hands and knees. Moving the blankets. No, I'm not going to move them all the way off. Well, okay, maybe I will. Yeah, and then cat-cow, once you get to your hands and knees. Just doing some movement to balance the body. And with your next inhale, curling the toes. Down dog on the exhale. Inhale to walk the feet to the hands. And exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Now let's take a moment, standing, to notice differences. Right side to left side. The thighs, sides of the hips, back tops of the hips, the sacrum, the belly, and just feel that full breath in the belly now. And now let's just keep our hands at heart center, bringing the feet together. And then settle the hips with an exhale back into chair. With your next exhale, twisting now to the right. No, sorry, to the left. So the right elbow comes to the outside of the left knee. Make sure the right knee is not popping forward. Breathing into the belly. Left shoulder pulling back, right shoulder pushing to the left. Trying to open our heart to the sky. With your next inhale, step the right foot back. Exhale to settle. So the right hip is lifted, left hip pulls back, pressing down into the back foot. Full breaths into the belly. With your next exhale, release the hands to the mat. Great. Going for your block again, we're doing that dynamic movement. So with an inhale, bend the front knee, press the heart forward, collarbones lift, shoulders back. Exhale to round and fold. Navel contracts. Inhale. Bending the knee, shoulders back. Exhale, navel contracts, straighten the knee, fold. Chin tucks. Inhale. And exhale. Navel contracts. If you don't get any of the other cues, just remember the navel. That's the important part. Breathing belly into thigh. Navel contracts on the exhale. One more breath. Great. Now bending that front knee slightly. Taking hand to block. Turning the back toes out. Inhale to sweep the right arm forward, and exhale, twisting open into triangle. Again, if this is too intense to have the hand down, if you can't quite get that reach, you can bring the hand to the shin. Personally, I prefer the hand on the block. Left hip pulls back, right hip rolls down towards the mat. Breathing here. Remember the action of the navel. Belly full, pelvic floor full on the inhale. Navel contracts, pelvic floor lifts on the exhale. Moving away from the mind. Just being here with the breath, with the body. Allow the mind to disengage. Give yourself permission. One more breath. And with an inhale, right arm reaches forward. Exhale to bring it down to the mat. Drop the back knee. Sink into the hips. Take the hands to the knee. Back knee and front heel towards one another. Lift the top of the right thigh. Breathe here. Shoulders relax. Belly soft on the inhale. Navel contracts on the exhale. Now directing the mind and the energy and consciousness towards the heart. So on your inhale, full belly, full collarbones lifting. Exhale, navel contracts, chin tucks, shoulders relax. Keeping the heart lifted. Inhale, full belly. And breathing into the collarbones. Navel contracts on the exhale, shoulders relax. 2 more breaths. Exhale to release the hands. Inhale to press the heart forward, shoulders back. Exhale to straighten the front knee, flex the ankle, and fold. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward, belly soft, pelvic floor soft. Exhale, fold, contracting the navel. Two more times on this side. And this exhale sitting you all the way back to a seat. I realized I didn't explain very well the other side, so I'll do a better job this side. So as you can see, this foot is back. The toes are pointing back. I like to take my calf and turn it out so there's a little bit more room for the upper leg, so it's not all scrunched together underneath your hamstrings and thigh. Sitting so that the sit bones are on the blanket or on the mat, both sit bones on the mat, both sit bones contacting something, so we feel grounded during this. So this leg is in Virasana or Vajrasana, and this leg is in Paschimottanasana as we do this fold. The thighs and knees towards one another. Fingertips on the mat to press down and reach up through the spine, creating as much lift, as much extension internally as possible. Shoulders down as the back of the head floats up. The crown lifts. With your next inhale, arms come up. And exhale to fold. Going about where you went on the other side, using your strap if you need. And as you breathe, notice the belly. Notice the front of the pelvic bowl. Every exhale, allow the mind to quiet and disengage. One more breath. Your inhale will bring you up. Very good. Very good. Now let's see. Oh, hell yeah. We still got 7 minutes. Of course, I talked a little bit for a while, so maybe that means we have more time, but let's come to our back. Yeah, that is nice after doing that stuff. And both knees into the chest. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to move from this position into dynamic bridge. So, So with your inhale, you'll plant the feet. And let's just do it. With an inhale, plant the feet. Arms to the mat. Lift the hips. Sweep the arms up. This is one inhale. Chest lifts towards chin. Chin moves away from chest. And exhale, hips down, arms down. Hug the knees in. Inhale, plant the feet. Lift the hips, lift the arms. And exhale. Inhale. Just move at your own pace now. It takes a moment to really find the right rhythm. One more time. Great. Now take the arms out to a cactus. Not quite, actually. Let's plant the feet. Interlace the hands behind the head. Feet are together, knees are together with an inhale. And then exhale, drop the knees to the right. The knife edge of the right foot stays on the mat. The left foot lifts off the mat. So the inside edges of the feet are still together. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, left side. Inhale to center. Trying to keep the knees right next to one another as you do this. Exhale to the right. Keeping the shoulders on the mat. Inhale to center. Exhale, left. Center. And just move with your breath now. Not doing any action with the navel, but just noticing where the navel is, as well as the space between the genitals and the navel. So the front of the pelvic floor, the front of the pelvic bowl, sorry. Keeping our mind there keeps our connection there. One more to the left. And now both knees into the chest. And now left leg out long, right knee stays in. Take the right arm out to the side. Left hand to the outside of the right knee, and with an exhale, twist. Taking the leg across the body, shifting the hips to the right. And then gazing towards the right hand. Keeping the right shoulder on the mat, breathing here. Now you don't have to push your knee all the way to the mat, just using the weight of the hand to keep the knee close towards the body, and so on. Inhaling to center, realigning the hips, switching legs. Right hand to the outside of the left knee, left arm reaches out. With an exhale, take the leg across the body, twisting, shifting the hips to the left, gazing towards the left hand. And inhaling back to center. Both knees into the chest one more time. And then when you feel ready, take the legs out long for Shavasana. Getting comfortable. Making any final adjustments so that you can really be still. And now as you breathe, to really get settled in our bodies, I'd like you to count from 12 to 0. Each breath is one step in this count. So your first exhale, you mentally repeat 12. Next exhale, mentally 11. Next exhale, 10, so on. Every step in the count, the body becomes more still, the breath smoother, the mind more calm. And when you get to 0, just rest. That's all you need to do is just rest. Allow the mind to wander. No need to control or shape or quiet. Just let it wander. And as it wanders, just notice. Notice your thoughts. Ask yourself, what will my next thought be? And then pause and listen. Listen for that next thought. Notice how that act of pausing and listening creates a gap. The more you actively pause and listen, the wider that gap will become, until eventually the gap is so wide there's more space than there is thought. And when you're ready, begin to deepen the breath down into the belly. And bringing movement back to the body. Rolling to one side when you're ready. And coming up to a seat. Take a moment, once again, once you get settled, to ask yourself mentally, what will my next thought be? And then listen for that thought. in that gap, notice there's no agitation. There's nothing to do. There's no one to be. And imagine living in that gap your whole life. So just remember, that gap is there. It's waiting for you to explore it. And so, in other terms, in other things, thanks for practicing with me today. Namaste. Now, if you have any feedback, please feel free. I'm always open and accepting of feedback. If you just want to say hi. That's nice. I will soon be opening my, I have it opened, but I'll soon be putting a lot more into my Patreon account, which is actually, it's an account that, it's a site where I can create premium, really, really good, really awesome, amazing content for my followers. So if you really like my content and you want something specific, let me know and we can work something out on Patreon. Patreon is specifically for paying customers. So if you want to support me in my yoga teaching and you really like my style, you really like what I am offering, then please find me on Patreon. It's under Ryan Michael Yoga, same as this blog. Same as this YouTube channel. I also have a blog called Ryan Michael Yoga where I really get into the things that I work on. I like to talk about my practice a little bit because it helps me really discover what is my practice? What have I been practicing? Because the thing is, I've been doing so many different things and now I have something, thanks to my blog, thanks to really reflecting on it. Now I have something that I really believe is beneficial for me, and I really believe I have sussed out what I'm going for, because I've had these times where I will read all these different books, but I never did any of the practices, or I'd practice them a little bit here and there, but I didn't really have this thing that was specific for me. Everybody's sadhana is different. Everybody's yoga practice is different. So if you want to read about mine, or if you want to even read about just thoughts that I have that I expound on, check out my blog. It is also ryanmichaelyoga.org. And as always, like, subscribe, share, do all the YouTube channel things. I want to actually explain a little bit something on Patreon that's going to be happening. It's more of a coming soon because I'm still setting it up, but I will be doing one-on-one over the internet, probably using Zoom or some other video conference, video talk, video chat software to talk to you and figure out what you want in a yoga practice, what you want to do, what you want to have done energetically, what you want physically, what you want mentally, what you're trying to open, what you're trying to stretch, what you're trying to strengthen, all these different things, injuries, things to work with, maybe even breathing practices. And I want to sit down with you and figure out all that stuff, and then design a class specific for you. And then I can walk you through it. I'll record a video that is me doing this class for you, and then I'll give it to you, and then we will have I'll let you practice it, and then we'll have another meet. Maybe like a week after, once you've done the video a couple times, and you can give me some feedback and be like, I liked this, I didn't like this. Basically, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to help people develop their own practice, their own daily routine. So if you are trying to accomplish something,
in your practice and you're not really getting it from these random classes that I'm teaching or other teachers are teaching, or you're going to studios maybe for, then hit me up on Patreon for this. And this is a paid service. And Patreon is a monthly service, so you'd be paying month to month. And so this one would be like if you want a specific class and you want to meet with me once a month, well, twice a month technically, because we're doing the 1 month or once before the yoga class and then the once after. So just month to month to change things, to alter your class and so on. So yeah, look me up, Ryan Michael Yoga. Look up my blog, ryanmichaelyoga.org. Look me up on Patreon under Ryan Michael Yoga, and thanks for watching.